Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven pauses everything around you right now. For this is not coincidence, this is divine intervention. You are not scrolling by chance. You are here because a war has been raging inside your mind, and heaven has decided it ends tonight. The battle is not out there in the noise of the world, it is in the quiet chambers of your thoughts. You have been wrestling with fears that were never yours to carry. Voices that whisper defeat. Doubts that echo louder than faith. Yet even now, heaven leans in to remind you, you are not losing your mind. You are winning it back. You have been chosen for this exact moment because your mind is the battlefield that determines your destiny. You fought invisible wars in silence, smiling while breaking inside, praying while doubting if God even hears you. But He does. Every tear, every sigh, every weary thought that tried to drown your faith has been seen. The kingdom is not far from you. It is fighting for you. You are heaven's investment. You are the one marked for victory, not defeat. Listen carefully. Worry is not your identity. Anxiety is not your inheritance. You were never meant to live chained to the what-ifs that torment your peace. Every thought that says you can't is a lie forged in the dark to keep you from seeing who you already are in the light. You are chosen. You are sealed. You are covered. The storm may roar, but it cannot drown what heaven has destined to rise. The Spirit is whispering right now, do not run. Stand still, because stillness is not surrender, it is strategy. When you quiet the noise and lift your eyes, you will see that the enemy's power was never real. It was borrowed from your attention. Every worry feeds what heaven wants to starve. The moment you decide to pray instead of panic, the battlefield shifts. Angels are dispatched. Peace begins to take shape. Your mind, beloved, is sacred territory. Every thought that enters is either a seed of life or a weed of deception, and heaven is teaching you now to guard it with authority. This is not the time to agree with fear. This is the hour to speak life. When worry says, "You're not enough," you must declare, "I am chosen by God." When doubt says, "It's over," you must proclaim, "It's only beginning," for what you confess, you create. Do you remember those nights when you couldn't sleep, the racing thoughts, the regrets, the endless what-ifs? Those were not random moments of anxiety. That was the enemy trying to invade the temple of your peace. But you are realizing something right now. You are not defenseless. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the powers, the rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness above." And now, this moment right here is your awakening. Stop running from the noise and face it with prayer. Do not entertain every thought that knocks on the door of your mind. Ask yourself, does this thought bring peace or poison? If it steals peace, it's not from heaven. Reject it. You have the right to silence every mental storm. The crown of peace is not earned, it's given to those who believe. So, speak this now. I take back my mind. I take back my peace. I belong to heaven, not to fear. When you pray this, you are not begging God, you are aligning with Him. Prayer is not desperation, it is dominion. It is heaven's language of victory. And when you pray with faith, worry loses its vocabulary. Beloved, This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of your mental resurrection. What used to control you will now serve you. What used to drain you will now strengthen you. Because the mind that once feared is becoming the mind that believes. And when belief replaces fear, the devil loses his grip. So pause right now. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you can. Feel heaven near. The same God who created galaxies is calming your thoughts right now. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. The war in your head is ending, and peace is stepping in like a mighty river. If you feel this word stirring in your spirit, declare it by faith. Comment 777 below as your prophetic act of surrender and victory. That number is your public declaration. My mind is no longer a battlefield, it is holy ground. And before you scroll away, take a moment, like, share, and subscribe to this channel, not for vanity, but because every time this message spreads, another chosen one wakes up to freedom. You never know whose mind you might save by sharing light. Heaven sees your obedience. Heaven honors your yes. You begin to notice it, the voice that has followed you for years, the whisper that crawls into your mind at the quietest moments, saying, "What if it all falls apart?" It sounds like you, but it isn't. It carries the tone of fear, the scent of lies, the rhythm of accusation. This is not the voice of heaven. This is the voice of anxiety, the unseen enemy that has been waging war for your attention. The battle has never been about your surroundings. It has always been about your focus. Darkness cannot touch what is protected by light, so it seeks instead to distract, to divide, to drain. The voice of anxiety thrives on agreement. The more you listen, the more it grows, feeding on your attention like a parasite that drinks peace and spits back panic. But you are awakening now, realizing that every lie loses power the moment you expose it to truth. Fear begins with a whisper, "You are not enough." Then it grows into an echo, "You will fail." But heaven counters every lie with light. You are chosen. You are the one who carries divine DNA, built with purpose and crowned with promise. You were never meant to live imprisoned by invisible thoughts. The enemy fears your stillness because in silence you can hear heaven's voice, and heaven's voice is truth, strong enough to shatter every illusion of worry. You remember the moments you almost gave up, the tightness in your chest, the heaviness in your heart, the endless loop of negative thoughts that made you feel small. But each time, something holy whispered, "Breathe." That whisper was not from the world. It was the Spirit of God reminding you that fear has an expiration date, and that date is today. Worry thrives on imagination misused. It takes your creativity, your God-given gift, and turns it into fuel for fear. The same mind that can imagine miracles can also imagine disaster. And the choice between the two is your battlefield. You must learn to starve anxiety by refusing to feed it your focus. Speak aloud what heaven says about you, even when your emotions disagree. The voice of faith must become louder than the voice of fear. Anxiety is not simply an emotion, it is a strategy. It seeks to pull you out of the present moment, out of the awareness of God's presence. But here is your weapon: awareness. When you become conscious that fear is speaking, you can silence it with authority. Do not fight thoughts with thoughts. Fight them with truth spoken out loud. Your mind was not designed to be a courtroom of endless arguments. It was designed to be a throne room of peace. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Do you feel the weight of those words, hope and a future? Anxiety says there is no future. God says there is one written for you in glory. Fear says everything will fall apart. God says everything is falling into place. Every time you choose to believe His voice over fear's whisper, the enemy loses territory in your mind. You are learning now that silence is not weakness, it is warfare. When anxiety tries to make noise in your thoughts, you can quiet it by remembering who stands beside you. Heaven has never once abandoned you. Even in your darkest mental storms, angels have stood guard, unseen but unshaken. They have watched you wrestle. They have shielded you from despair. They have whispered courage when you thought you were done. You are stronger than you think, not because you feel strong, but because you are held by the one who never fails. Every moment of worry can become worship if you let it. When fear says, "What if it doesn't work out?" you say, "Even if it doesn't, God is still good." That kind of faith confuses hell. It breaks the rhythm of fear and replaces it with a melody of trust. This is your awakening to see worry for what it is, a thief that can no longer rob you. You do not need to defeat it through logic. You conquer it through surrender. You let go. You breathe. You trust that heaven is still writing your story. You stop rehearsing fear and start repeating faith. You may still hear the whispers for a time, but they will no longer command you. You are learning to let peace answer the door when anxiety knocks. And when you do, you'll find that the voice of fear has nothing left to say. You've carried so much for so long, haven't you? The weight of responsibilities, the fear of failing, the constant thoughts whispering that you must hold it all together. Yet even as your hands tremble and your heart grows weary, heaven is whispering now, you were never meant to carry this alone. The burdens that bend your back were never assigned by God. You picked them up, trying to help everyone else, trying to fix everything, trying to be strong when no one noticed your quiet breaking. But this is the moment you begin to release. Every chosen one must learn the sacred art of surrender. Not giving up, but giving over. You are learning that strength is not control, it's trust. The same God who formed galaxies can hold what's too heavy for your mind. You've tried to think your way out of the pain, to plan your way through the worry. But the battle in the mind is not won by logic, it's won by letting go. Heaven's command for you now is simple: release to receive. The Spirit of the Lord is gentle, not forceful. He will not rip the burden from your hands. He will wait until you open them. And in that moment of surrender, power is exchanged. You give Him the chaos. He gives you peace. You hand over the weight. He places in your spirit a calm authority. The worry that has been circling your thoughts begins to lose its oxygen when you breathe in trust. Think back on the nights you whispered, "God, I can't do this anymore." You thought it was defeat, but heaven called it worship. Because the truest worship is not the song you sing when life feels right. It's the whisper you give when you feel like breaking. Every "I can't" you've ever prayed was an invitation for God to say, "I can." We are reminded through the writings of David in Psalms, chapter 55, verse 22. Cast your cares on the Lord and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. These are not poetic words, they are instructions from eternity. To cast is to throw, to release, to hurl every anxious thought away from your spirit. God never asked you to manage your worry, He asked you to surrender it. The enemy wants you exhausted, replaying every worst-case scenario, analyzing every possibility. But heaven invites you into rest, a rest not of passivity, but of peace that moves mountains because it trusts the hand that moves them. You must understand this truth: carrying what isn't yours delays what is. Every ounce of energy spent trying to control the uncontrollable drains what heaven could use to build your future. When you cling to worry, you block the flow of divine creativity. You can't receive the next instruction when your hands are full of yesterday's fears. So you must release, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary for your freedom. The enemy will whisper, "If you let go, it will all fall apart." But heaven responds, "If you let go, it will all fall into place." You have seen this before. Every time you reach the end of yourself, something greater stepped in. Every time you thought it was over, peace returned. You were never meant to sustain your world alone. You were meant to rest in the one who holds worlds in his hands. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture every heavy thought, every anxious question, every impossible situation sitting in your palms. Now see yourself opening your hands and letting them fall into light. That light is the presence of God, gentle, strong, unshakable. He catches what you release, and in return, He gives you what cannot be broken, peace. This is not escapism, it's divine alignment. Surrender is not weakness, it's warfare. Because when you release control, the enemy loses his grip. He cannot attack a mind anchored in peace. Your surrender terrifies darkness because it proves you trust the unseen hand of God more than the visible chaos of the world. So right now, let this declaration rise in your spirit: I will not carry what God has called me to release. Say it out loud if you can. Feel the heaviness start to lift. The Holy Spirit is moving through the space between your breaths, reminding you that you are not failing, you are being freed. The moment you release, something powerful happens. Heaven begins to rearrange what was out of order. Situations start shifting. Peace begins to settle. The noise in your mind quiets because you finally stopped trying to be your own savior. You can finally breathe again, not because everything is fixed, but because you realize you never had to fix it all. And now, as you read this, if your heart feels that divine nudge, the one that says, "Yes, this is for me," I want you to act in faith. Type "I surrender" in the comments below. Those two words are not a sign of weakness, they are your victory cry. They tell heaven you're ready to trade worry for rest, fear for trust, burden for blessing. Let it be your moment of release, your prophetic act in this sacred space. When you type it, do it not for me, but for you. It's your way of saying, I choose peace over panic. I choose faith over control. And heaven will meet you in that choice, flooding your mind with calm and your spirit with strength. You were never meant to carry this. You were meant to conquer by surrendering. And today, you finally do. The battle in your mind does not always roar like thunder. Sometimes it whispers, subtle and persistent, slipping through the cracks of your thoughts like mist before dawn. You sit in silence, yet the noise within is deafening. You smile in public, yet deep inside, An unseen war rages between faith and fear, hope and despair. It is a war no one sees, but heaven does. This is the silent war of thoughts. It is not fought with fists or swords, but with focus and surrender. Every thought you entertain becomes a seed planted in the garden of your mind. Some seeds bloom into peace. Others grow into weeds of anxiety and doubt. The soil of your mind responds to what you allow to take root. You cannot always control what thoughts enter, but you can choose which ones to water. The Spirit is teaching you discernment, now the ability to recognize what voice is speaking. There are only three: the voice of God that brings peace, the voice of the enemy that brings fear, and your own voice that must decide which one to believe. Every spiritual battle begins with a whisper that questions what God already said about you. Are you sure you're strong enough? What if you fail again? What if nothing changes? These are not your thoughts, they are invasions. You are not powerless against them. The Word of God is your defense, your sword, your compass. You must answer thoughts with truth. When the mind tells you, you are alone, answer with faith. He will never leave me nor forsake me. When fear says, this storm will destroy you, respond. Even the winds obey his voice. Every time you speak truth, darkness retreats. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. Think of the moments you felt overwhelmed, the racing heartbeat, the spiraling thoughts, the sense of being trapped in your own mind. In those moments, peace wasn't gone, it was buried under noise. You can recover it by slowing down, breathing, and bringing every thought into the light. Worry thrives in darkness, it withers in awareness. The moment you name the lie, it loses power. The moment you expose fear, it begins to dissolve. You are not losing control, you are being trained in spiritual discipline. To win the battle in your mind is not to stop thinking, it's to start choosing differently. The mind is the gatekeeper of destiny. If you allow worry to camp there, it will build walls around your faith. But if you fill your thoughts with truth, those same walls become fortresses of peace. Your thoughts create atmospheres. They either invite heaven or welcome confusion. This is why Scripture calls you to renew your mind daily. Renewal is not a one-time event. It's a daily act of cleansing the inner room where God desires to dwell. Every time you pause to pray, to breathe, to realign, you are sweeping the temple clean. You are making space for peace to sit where panic once ruled. You may have believed that your mind is too chaotic, too broken to ever be still. But the truth is, peace is your original design. Before worry learned your name, God spoke peace over you. Before fear entered your story, joy was your language. What feels like recovery to you is actually a return to the place of stillness where heaven and your thoughts meet in harmony. Remember this, the enemy is loud, but not powerful. God is quiet, but unstoppable. The voice that brings confusion will always shout. The voice that brings peace will always whisper. Train your spirit to recognize the whisper. You will find it in moments of stillness, in a sudden calm, in a breath that feels lighter than the last. That's where God speaks inside the silence you've been afraid to enter. Do not fear your thoughts. Bring them before God, one by one. Lay them down. even the ugly ones, even the painful ones. He is not shocked by your fears. He is not disappointed by your doubts. He is simply waiting for you to stop fighting alone. When you invite him into the battlefield of your mind, the war begins to turn. This war is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal you. For in the fire of mental conflict, your faith is refined, your strength is forged, and your peace becomes unshakable. You are standing at the threshold of something holy. The noise that once overwhelmed you is beginning to fade, replaced by a new awareness you were never powerless. You always had authority, you just didn't know how to use it. Heaven is revealing to you now that the war in your mind is not about survival anymore, it's about reclaiming dominion. You are not just fighting back, you are taking ownership of your peace. Reclaiming authority over your mind means remembering who you are. You are not a victim of thought, you are a vessel of truth. You have been given the ability to command peace to remain, to tell fear it no longer belongs here, to decree calm even when the world trembles. You are not at the mercy of emotion. Emotion is at the mercy of your spirit. Every anxious thought bows when faith speaks. Every storm in your head must still itself when you say, "Peace, be still." This is not positive thinking, it is spiritual warfare. Your words carry weight in the unseen. Heaven responds to declaration, not despair. The moment you align your mouth with God's word, the atmosphere begins to shift. You have been silent too long, letting fear narrate your thoughts. But heaven says it's time to speak again, not from panic, but from position. Remember, when Jesus calmed the storm, he didn't negotiate with the wind, he commanded it. That same authority lives in you. You may feel unworthy, but your authority does not depend on your perfection, it depends on your identity. And your identity has already been sealed by heaven. As the apostle reminds us in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. This is your command, to take captive every thought that defies peace. Don't let fear run wild in your imagination. Arrest it. Interrogate every thought that says you're not enough. Ask it, did heaven say that? If not, silence it. Your mind is not a battlefield for chaos anymore. It's a courtroom where truth reigns. You are the judge who decides what stays and what goes. It will take practice. Yes, some days you'll feel strong, other days the old voices will try to return. But every time you choose peace, every time you refuse to let worry win, heaven records your victory. You are building spiritual muscle, training your mind to recognize divine order. Where there was once confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was panic, there will be praise. And as this transformation unfolds, let it overflow. The world around you needs this kind of peace. There are countless souls trapped in the same storm you're escaping, scrolling through screens, searching for hope. When you share what you've learned, when you testify of your renewal, you become a light for them. Every time you lift someone else, heaven strengthens your own foundation. So, if this message has reached you, if it resonates deep within, take a moment and let gratitude rise. Don't rush past this. Breathe. Feel the calm you've been asking for begin to settle. You are not here by chance. This word found you because heaven knew what your mind needed. And I want to speak to you not as a preacher, but as a fellow traveler, as someone who knows what it's like to fight unseen battles. If this message has touched your spirit, do something small but sacred, like share and subscribe, not as a ritual, not for numbers, but as an act of agreement. When you do, it's a way of saying, yes, I choose peace. Yes, I receive this word. Because every time this message reaches another soul, darkness loses ground. Every time you help it spread, you become a vessel of light in someone else's storm. That simple click might be the bridge between someone's despair and their deliverance. You may never know the full impact of your obedience, but heaven does. You are no longer just surviving, you are stepping into dominion. Your mind is no longer a house of fear, it's becoming a throne of peace. You are beginning to rule over what once ruled you. The more you practice authority, the more natural it becomes. You will wake up one day and realize that the chaos that once owned you now bows before your calm. There is a divine rhythm being restored inside you. Worry loses its grip. Fear forgets your name. You begin to walk lighter. Think clearer. Breathe deeper. You will find yourself responding to chaos with compassion instead of panic, because you know who reigns within you. That is the fruit of reclaimed authority, peace that cannot be stolen. The storm has not disappeared, but it no longer defines you. You have become the calm within it. You have felt the shift, haven't you? The air in your spirit feels different now, lighter, clearer. The noise that once consumed you is quieter, and the peace you've been praying for is beginning to make its home in you. Yet even as stillness grows, the enemy will make one last attempt to reclaim what he's lost. He knows your greatest transformation begins in the mind, so he will attack it with one last weapon, worry disguised as reason. When your thoughts start to spin again, remember this: your peace is not fragile, it is fortified. You are not backsliding, you are being strengthened. The moment you learn to silence fear, you became dangerous to darkness. And so now, heaven teaches you the prayer that breaks mental chains, the prayer that doesn't just calm you, but reorders everything inside you according to divine truth. This prayer isn't complicated. It's not about perfect words or holy phrases. It's about honesty, the kind of raw, trembling honesty that makes heaven move. You don't need eloquence, you need surrender. You don't need performance, you need presence. When you speak to God from your heart, your words become fire that melts the chains of anxiety. We are reminded through the writings of Paul in Philippians, chapter 4, verse 6, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." This is the blueprint. Prayer is not just communication, it's transformation. It shifts your focus from fear to faith. It reminds your heart that God is still in control, even when your thoughts aren't. When you begin to pray instead of worry, you stop feeding the chaos. You take back the throne of your mind and hand it to heaven. Close your eyes. Chosen one, breathe, and let these words rise from your spirit. Father, I surrender my thoughts to you. Every worry, every fear, every heavy question, I lay them at your feet. Renew my mind with your truth. Let your peace flow like a river through every anxious place. I refuse to bow to fear. I will not live as a prisoner of what-ifs. I take back authority over my thoughts. Holy Spirit, rule and reign in my mind. Let my thoughts echo heaven's sound peace. Not panic, faith. Not fear, hope. Not despair. In Jesus' name, Amen. When you speak this prayer, heaven listens. Angels move. The weight begins to lift. You start to feel peace settling like warm light over cold waters. Your heartbeat slows. Your mind steadies. You realize that peace was never gone. It was waiting for permission to enter. Prayer doesn't always change your circumstance right away, but it always changes you, and that is where victory begins. Because when your inner world aligns with heaven, no external storm can overthrow you. Peace is not the absence of chaos, it is the presence of God within it. Every time you pray, chains loosen. Every time you surrender, your spirit grows stronger. The same thoughts that once trapped you begin to bow. You start recognizing when fear knocks and refuse to open the door. You begin to walk differently, not because everything outside changed, but because everything inside did. This is what mental victory looks like, not silence, but soundness, not perfection, but peace. You will still face thoughts that try to return, but now you know what to do. You pray, you breathe, you release, you let the waves rise and fall, but you remain unmoved. God is restoring rhythm to your mind, the rhythm of peace that hums softly beneath chaos, the rhythm of trust that doesn't flinch under pressure. You are being trained to pray until peace feels natural. What used to feel like panic will soon feel like power. There is a sacred moment happening right now as you read this, the stillness after surrender, the holy calm that follows release. You are not the same as before. You have prayed yourself into a new mental atmosphere, and heaven recognizes it. You are learning to live above the noise. And now, as a prophetic act of agreement, I want you to do something simple but powerful. In the comments below, type 888. That number is the symbol of new beginnings, the sign that something has ended and something divine has begun. When you comment it, you're not just typing digits, you're declaring alignment. You're saying, my mind is renewed. My peace is restored. My beginning starts now. Heaven sees your declaration. Angels stand witness. Every number written in faith becomes a marker of your spiritual transformation. You are not returning to who you were. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, a vessel of divine peace. So, chosen one, as this moment closes, remember, the battle for your mind is not lost, it's already won. Keep praying, keep breathing, keep choosing faith, because every time you do, heaven writes another victory in your name. Fear is a master illusionist. It paints pictures that look real, but dissolve the moment you touch them with faith. You've seen these illusions before, the false futures that worry invents, the imaginary disasters that never arrive. The enemy's greatest weapon is not the storm itself, but the image of the storm inside your mind. Yet the moment you expose it to light, it vanishes, revealing that peace was standing behind it all along. You have spent years reacting to shadows that had no power. Fear has whispered, "You're not enough." And you believed it. It told you, "They'll leave you." And you braced for abandonment. It murmured, "It won't work." And you hesitated, missing blessings meant for your boldness. But today, you are seeing clearly, fear was never truth. It was theater. Its only goal was to distract you from the fire of faith inside you. There is a reason the enemy attacks your mind with fear. He cannot destroy what is protected by God. So he tries to convince you to destroy it yourself through worry, doubt, and hesitation. Every time you feed fear, you dim your fire. Every time you believe lies, you bury light. But when you remember who you are, when you let faith ignite again, darkness trembles. Because the light within you does not negotiate, it commands. Faith does not deny that the storm exists, it simply denies the storm permission to rule. Fear says, "Look how big the wave is." Faith says, "Look how big my God is." Fear focuses on outcome. Faith focuses on obedience. You are learning to shift your attention from the chaos to the Creator. That shift is the key to winning the battle in your mind. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." Do you see it? Faith doesn't have to be massive, it just has to be alive. The smallest spark of belief can light up a lifetime of darkness. Fear screams, but faith whispers. And yet the whisper carries more power. The reason fear is built on lies, but faith is built on truth. Truth does not need volume to win, it needs only presence. You've been walking with your head down, calculating risks, rehearsing failures, imagining endings that God never wrote. But faith invites you to lift your eyes again, to see beyond the horizon of what's visible. Faith says, it will happen not because you control it, but because you're chosen for it. You are learning that the absence of certainty does not mean the absence of God. He is in the waiting, in the wondering, in the in-between moments where fear shouts, but peace whispers louder. The illusion of fear thrives on repetition. It keeps showing you the same images of failure to wear down your hope. But now you know how to break the loop. When fear says, "You can't," you answer, "God can." When fear says, "You're unworthy," you reply, "I am chosen." When fear says, "You'll lose," you proclaim, "Even loss becomes victory in His hands." You are no longer reacting, you are ruling. Fear tries to make you forget who you belong to. But every time you pray, every time you speak truth, you remind the darkness that your mind is not available for torment. Fear may knock, but you don't have to answer. It can rattle the door, but you can stay seated in peace, unbothered, unmoved. This is not ignorance, it's spiritual maturity. You're no longer giving attention to every thought that passes through your mind. You're learning discernment, the ability to recognize what deserves your focus. Faith is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about standing firm when nothing makes sense. Declaring, "Even now, God is working." It's about trusting that the unseen is more real than what you feel. Fear demands evidence before it believes. Faith believes before it sees. That's why faith terrifies darkness, because it refuses to play by the world's rules. You are walking into a season where fear will try to visit, but it will no longer find a home. It will come knocking with old memories, trying to reopen old wounds. But your mind will answer differently now. You'll recognize the tone, the trick, the trap, and you'll choose faith instead. You will no longer waste energy rehearsing what could go wrong. Instead, you will invest your energy in what God is about to make right. The fire of faith is reigniting in you. You will feel it in moments of peace that make no logical sense, in laughter that returns after long silence, in the sudden courage to try again. That is the evidence of victory, the quiet confidence that you are no longer controlled by fear's illusion. You are not who you were before this journey began. You are stronger, wiser, and more anchored in truth. The same mind that once doubted is now declaring. The same heart that once trembled is now steady. And though fear may still whisper, its words no longer hold you. For faith has taken the microphone, and heaven is amplifying your voice. Your mind is not a wasteland, it is a garden, sacred and alive, designed to nurture what heaven plants. Yet too often, it has felt overrun by thorns, worry, regret, comparison, and self-doubt. You've looked at your thoughts and wondered, how did I let it get this way? But even in that question, grace speaks. The soil of your spirit is never too damaged for divine renewal. God does not abandon gardens, He restores them. When the Creator formed humanity, the first place He placed us was not in a palace or a battlefield, it was in a garden, a space of balance, order, and communion. That same divine design still exists in you. Your mind was meant to be Eden-like, a dwelling of peace, creativity, and divine fellowship. The enemy knows this, which is why he sows weeds of anxiety and lies. But what he forgets is that the gardener always returns. You are being taught to tend your inner world again. Every thought is a seed. Every word is water. When you meditate on truth, you plant life. When you rehearse fear, you feed weeds. The first step in reclaiming your peace is learning to recognize the difference. Heaven doesn't expect you to have a perfect mind. It calls you to have a disciplined one, a mind that chooses to guard what grows within. The voice of God thundered in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This is not a gentle suggestion, it is a divine command. To guard your heart means to protect your inner garden from infiltration. Your heart and mind are gates. Whatever you allow through them will eventually bloom in your behavior. If you dwell on negativity, bitterness will take root. If you feed on gratitude, joy will flourish. You must decide daily what kind of garden you want your mind to become. The weeds of worry often start small, tiny thoughts like, what if it goes wrong, or I'm not good enough? You let them stay, thinking they're harmless, but soon they multiply. They choke peace, block sunlight, and steal the water meant for faith. You do not uproot weeds by ignoring them, you confront them with truth. You declare, this thought is not from heaven, I reject it. And in that moment, the roots begin to die. There will be seasons where it feels like the weeds grow faster than the flowers. Don't be discouraged. Every gardener knows that growth takes time, and pruning is part of the process. Sometimes God allows certain situations to expose the weeds you didn't know were there. Discomfort is often the divine gardener's tool. It reveals what must be cut away. The goal is not punishment, it's purification. You may not see instant results, but beneath the soil, transformation is happening. Every time you choose prayer over panic, you plant a seed of peace. Every time you speak gratitude instead of complaint, You nurture joy. Over time, your inner landscape changes. The thorns that once scratched your soul begin to wither, replaced by quiet streams and blooming faith. Imagine walking through your mind like a garden path. You begin to see color again, hopes you thought were dead, sprouting with new life. The fragrance of calm replaces the stench of fear. The constant noise gives way to birdsong, the gentle voice of the Spirit, reminding you that you were never forsaken, only being renewed. Tending your inner garden also means knowing when to rest. You cannot grow in exhaustion. The soil of your spirit must breathe. Sometimes the most spiritual act is to stop striving, to sit quietly in the presence of God and let Him rain peace upon your mind. You don't have to force growth, you only have to stay planted. The sun of His love and the rain of His word will do what striving never could. There is beauty in your becoming. The cracks in your heart are not evidence of failure. They are proof that you have been watered by grace. The areas of your mind that once felt barren are now being cultivated by divine hands. You are learning to partner with heaven to plant what is pure, to uproot what is false, to protect what is holy. Guard your peace like its treasure. Guard your joy like its sacred ground, because it is. When you let the wrong thoughts live in your garden, they grow into vines that steal your strength. But when you let truth dwell there, it blossoms into a peace that cannot be shaken. The garden of your mind is your inheritance. It was never meant to be overrun by fear. And now, with every breath, every prayer, every choice to focus on light, you are restoring Eden within. The gardener walks with you again, not as a distant God, but as a father tending his beloved creation. You are not just healing, you are blooming. There are nights when silence feels louder than thunder. You lie awake while the world sleeps, watching shadows on the ceiling, hearing the echo of your own thoughts. The hours stretch endlessly, and your mind becomes a battlefield of memories and what-ifs. You've prayed, cried, reasoned, and still the weight presses down. But what you don't realize is that the night is not against you, it is your training ground. Midnight is where warriors are made. It's in those hidden hours that heaven forges strength no daylight can teach. When darkness whispers, "You are forgotten," you must remember that even Jesus prayed in the night. The stillness of midnight is not abandonment, it is invitation. Heaven is closest when the world is quietest. What feels like loneliness is often divine intimacy disguised. God isolates you not to punish, but to prepare. You are learning now that the attacks that come at night are not random. The enemy waits for silence because distraction no longer shields you. He sends old fears, guilt, and shame like ghosts to haunt your rest. But hear this, you are not being haunted, you are being called higher. Every thought that rises against you in darkness is an opportunity to declare light. The same mouth that cries in pain can speak victory in the same breath, as was spoken in the sacred texts of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 5. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day. There it is your promise in ink and eternity. The terror of the night may visit, but it cannot claim you. Fear may knock, but it cannot enter. The darkness may surround, but it cannot swallow the light within you. Heaven has already declared that you will not fear. The key is to stand in that declaration even when your emotions tremble. Faith is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to obey it. When worry wakes you at 2 a.m., don't argue with it. Worship instead. Sing softly, even if it's just one line. Speak a verse aloud. Whisper his name. Every word of truth you release becomes a flame that pushes back the dark. The enemy despises your worship because it reminds him of what he lost: presence. When you worship, the very atmosphere shifts. Anxiety suffocates where adoration lives. You might not feel strong in those moments, but heaven never measures strength by feeling. Strength is when you stay, pray, and breathe through the fear. Strength is when you whisper thank you through tears. Each night you survive becomes another testimony that the darkness cannot win. Sometimes, the night is not an attack, but a classroom. God uses silence to teach what noise would drown out. He lets you sit in stillness so you can hear what faith really sounds like. It's not always loud or certain. It's sometimes a shaky voice saying, "God, I trust you anyway." And that simple declaration shakes hell to its foundation. You are not alone in the midnight hour. Heaven does not clock out when the sun goes down. Angels guard your bed. Peace hovers like a patient friend, waiting for permission to enter. The same God who split the Red Sea is standing watch over your restless mind. He does not sleep or slumber. While you wrestle, he wars for you. Think back to every night you thought you wouldn't make it, and yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still chosen. You have endured storms that would have crushed others. That's not weakness, that's proof of calling. You carry a light strong enough to terrify the darkness, and that's why it keeps trying to distract you. But distraction ends tonight. The next time fear tries to rise in the dark, say to yourself, "This is just noise." Then breathe. You'll begin to notice the shift. The racing thoughts will slow, the panic will ease, and peace will whisper, "I'm still here." You are not losing your mind. You are learning to master it. Your midnight will become your ministry. The very darkness that once broke you will be the place from which you speak light into others. Every sleepless night becomes a seed of compassion planted deep within you. You will carry understanding for the weary, mercy for the anxious, and power for the fearful. What was once your prison will become your pulpit. And now, if these words have met you in one of those long, silent nights, if your heart recognizes this truth deep within, I invite you to do one small but prophetic act of faith. Type, "I'm awake," in the comments below. Not as a casual phrase, but as a declaration. You're not just physically awake, you're spiritually awakened. You're saying, "I will no longer fear the dark. I am conscious of my calling, even in the midnight hour." That simple phrase becomes a torch in the comment section, a collective light of chosen ones rising against the night. Each "I'm awake" echoes across heaven as proof that darkness failed again. And when morning comes, you'll know the truth. The night didn't defeat you, it revealed you. You are learning to live differently now. The battles that once drained you no longer define you. You have begun to walk with quiet strength, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances but flows from a deeper source. You're beginning to understand that true victory is not about controlling life, it's about mastering your focus. The armor you wear is invisible, but it is real. Every thought aligned with truth becomes a shield. Every prayer whispered through pain becomes a sword. You are being clothed in clarity, trained in spiritual awareness, equipped to stand when confusion tries to cloud your vision. You are realizing that your peace is your protection. The enemy's most common tactic is distraction. He cannot steal your destiny. So, he tries to scatter your attention. He floods your mind with noise, urgency, and comparison until your focus fractures. But you were never meant to live divided. You were meant to move in purpose, guided by peace. According to what is revealed in Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 13, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may stand your ground and remain standing." That is your command, to stand, not panic, not retreat, stand, to wear your focus like armor and refuse to surrender your peace to temporary storms. You have been given authority to guard your atmosphere. What you let stay in your mind will either strengthen you or drain you. You are learning now to choose strength. This armor isn't heavy, it's holy. The belt of truth holds your thoughts steady when lies try to pull them apart. The breastplate of righteousness protects your heart from shame. The helmet of salvation shields your mind from despair. Every piece is a reminder that you're never unprotected. Heaven's craftsmanship covers you daily. But armor alone isn't enough. Focus keeps it in place. You must train your attention as you would a soldier trains discipline. The mind can wander into worry easily, but it can also be trained to return to peace. Each time you choose faith over fear, you are sharpening your sword. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you are strengthening your shield. This is divine preparation, mental warfare transformed into worship. You are not fighting to earn peace. You are fighting to maintain what has already been given. Peace is not a prize at the end of battle. It's the posture you fight from. The calm you carry confuses darkness because it reveals your confidence in God's sovereignty. You will notice how certain voices or distractions try to pull you off balance, news, opinions, chaos, endless scrolling. But now you know how to discern the difference between noise and necessity. You'll start asking yourself, does this feed my faith or my fear? And you'll act accordingly. Focus is your new form of warfare. The more you protect your focus, the stronger your spirit becomes. You'll find yourself responding with patience instead of panic, clarity instead of confusion. That's the fruit of divine order. Your mind becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield, and the peace that covers you becomes contagious. Others will feel it when they're near you. This is why heaven is calling you not just to survive, but to serve as a beacon. Your transformation is not only for you, it's for everyone who will see your life and realize that peace is possible. There are people silently fighting the same mental storms you've just overcome. Your calm will be their invitation to healing. So, let this message be your reminder. Your peace is powerful. Your focus is sacred. And your consistency is holy. You were created to bring heaven's stillness into a world addicted to chaos. Every moment you remain centered in God's truth. You demonstrate what divine strength really looks like. And if this word has stirred something inside you, if you feel that subtle warmth in your spirit, that whisper that says, "This is my message, don't keep it to yourself," like, share, and subscribe. Do it not as a habit, but as a heartfelt act of agreement. When you share, you are spreading calm into a world gasping for peace. When you subscribe, you are saying to heaven, "I want to stay aligned with this flow of truth." Each action may seem small, but heaven multiplies it. You never know whose life will shift because you pressed share, whose anxiety will quiet because you carried peace forward. You've been called not just to receive the message, but to release it. So wear your armor, keep your focus, and stand. The world will see your calm and wonder how you do it. And you'll know it's not you. It's the peace of God ruling within you, steady and unshakable. There comes a point in every chosen one's journey when words are no longer enough. You must be renewed from within. You can listen to every message, read every verse, and still feel the tension inside until your mind itself begins to be rewritten by the Word of God. Renewal is not an event. It's a daily resurrection of thought. It's when your old mental patterns die and a new rhythm of truth begins to beat in their place. You are entering that phase now, the season of renewal by the Word. It doesn't happen with fanfare. It begins quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. It's when familiar lies lose their grip because your spirit has learned to recognize their tone. It's when you start catching yourself mid-thought and saying, "No, that's not what God said about me." As the apostle wrote to the Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." That is your calling transformation through renewal. The world trains the mind to panic, to compare, to crave validation, but heaven trains the mind to rest, to discern, to trust. Renewal means allowing the Word of God to overwrite the code of worry that has long governed your thoughts. It is not about learning something new, it's about remembering what has always been true. You may not even realize how much the world has shaped your thoughts, how deeply its noise has woven itself into your reasoning. From the moment you wake up, you're told who to be, what to fear, what to desire. But renewal means stepping back, unplugging from the static, and letting divine truth reset your internal compass. When you meditate on Scripture, your mind starts to detox from fear. It begins to recognize the voice of peace again. At first, it feels strange, like silence after endless noise. But soon, that silence becomes sanctuary. The more you let the Word soak into you, the more your inner world begins to mirror heaven's order. You stop reacting to every emotion and start responding from revelation. You begin to hear differently, to see differently, to think differently. Renewal also requires repetition. The enemy hopes you'll quit when it feels slow. But transformation happens in layers, one verse at a time, one moment of surrender at a time. The old thoughts lose strength. The same way negative thinking once came automatically, faith will begin to come naturally. You will start noticing new reflexes, peace where panic used to live, gratitude where resentment once grew. That is the evidence of renewal taking root. You may have wondered why God didn't simply erase your worries instantly. It's because He values process. Instant relief might feel good, but steady renewal makes you strong. A renewed mind doesn't just survive storms, it becomes shelter for others. You will carry peace into spaces where confusion once ruled. People will look at you and see calm, but they won't know the cost that every bit of calm was forged through the discipline of returning to truth. Renewal is not passive. It requires choice. Each day, you decide what you will feed your mind. Will it be the world's fear or God's promise? You can't fill your thoughts with noise and expect stillness to grow. You must guard what enters your gates, your eyes, your ears, your heart. You can love others deeply, but still be selective about the voices you let speak into your soul. Renewal means learning the sacred art of boundaries. You will begin to find that Scripture doesn't just comfort you, it corrects you. It shows you where your thinking was small, where fear was still guiding decisions. And in that moment, conviction doesn't feel like condemnation, it feels like clarity. The truth may sting, but it always heals. It's like light shining into a dark room, revealing where peace can flow again. You'll know renewal has begun when the same situations that once triggered anxiety no longer shake you. You'll face familiar storms with unfamiliar calm. That's not denial, that's transformation. The Word has rebuilt your inner foundation. And now, even when winds rise, you remain steady. The renewed mind doesn't need to prove itself. It simply radiates quiet strength. You will find yourself thinking thoughts that build instead of break, words that heal instead of harm, actions that bring alignment instead of confusion. It's not effort, it's evidence. You have been renewed, and the world will notice. Do not rush this process. Renewal is a lifelong rhythm, a sacred exchange between your surrender and His Spirit. And as long as you keep showing up with an open heart, heaven will keep writing peace into your thoughts. There are moments when heaven gives signs subtle, sacred confirmations that you are moving in alignment. You begin to see patterns, divine repetitions that whisper, "This is the way. Keep walking." The world calls them coincidences, but the chosen know better. There is no such thing as random when heaven is involved. You are not wandering, you are being guided. In this season of renewal, heaven speaks to you not just through words, but through timing, through repetition, through numbers that seem to appear again and again. It may sound mysterious, but for the chosen, these are not accidents, they are prophetic markers, heavenly fingerprints reminding you that God is near and active in your journey. The ancient words recorded in Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10, declare, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Those words are not ink on a page, they are a promise written across your timeline. They are heaven's reassurance that you are not alone in the renewal of your mind. Every moment of weakness is met with divine support. Every time your focus falters, grace steadies you again. The patterns, the signs, the numbers you notice, they are echoes of that same truth. I am with you. Numbers have always carried spiritual meaning. Throughout Scripture, God used them to communicate hidden mysteries, the 40 days of testing, the 12 tribes of promise, the 3 days of resurrection. Each number carried weight, purpose, and revelation. And now, in your journey, heaven uses numbers not to mystify you, but to remind you that your steps are counted, ordered, and seen. When you see these numbers appear, they are not magic, they are mercy. They are heaven's way of drawing your attention back to awareness. When you feel lost, they remind you that God is still speaking. When you feel unseen, they remind you that heaven watches over your path with care. There are moments when you will question, am I really chosen? Am I really on the right path? And then, a small sign appears, a number that repeats, a message that arrives just in time, a whisper in your spirit that says, keep going. That is not chance, it is divine choreography. The Creator is reminding His creation that nothing is random when his hand writes the story. Every number carries meaning when heaven breathes on it. For some, it represents completion. For others, new beginnings. But today, the number heaven places on your heart is not about prediction, it's about participation. It is an invitation to declare, I am aligned, I am awake, I am part of what heaven is doing. In this moment, if you feel this message resonate deep within you, if you sense that confirmation in your chest, that quiet warmth that says, this is for me, then act in faith. In the comments below, type 555. This number symbolizes divine transition, grace multiplied, movement ordained by God, a holy shift that leads you from worry into wisdom, from fear into focus. When you type it, you are not following a trend, you are performing a prophetic act. You are saying, I agree with heaven's timing. I am ready to move forward. You are marking your moment of transformation in the spirit. Think about what happens when you take a step in faith. The invisible becomes visible. The unseen realm responds to belief. Every declaration you make with intention sends ripples through eternity. When you comment that number, it's not about the digits, it's about your agreement with divine order. Heaven always honors alignment. Your mind is being restructured to recognize heaven's language again. You will begin to notice patterns not as coincidences, but as confirmations. Your renewed awareness is proof that you are walking with heaven, not against it. Every day becomes prophetic when you live in rhythm with divine purpose. You are entering a stage of spiritual sensitivity now. You will notice how quickly you discern what brings peace and what disturbs it. You will feel when your thoughts align with heaven and when they drift. And you will find that prayer no longer feels like an effort, it feels like breathing. Remember, God has always communicated with his chosen through signs. The rainbow after the flood, the star over Bethlehem, the empty tomb at dawn. These were not symbols of superstition, they were signals of salvation. And so are the signs in your own life. Every number, every confirmation, every whisper, they are heaven's way of saying, I am still here. Keep your faith steady. The more you recognize these signs, the less you will doubt. The less you doubt, the more your peace will grow. And as peace expands, your clarity sharpens. You begin to make decisions not from fear, but from discernment. You begin to live not by chance, but by choice, divine choice. So let this be your marker of movement. Comment 555 below as your declaration of divine transition. Let heaven see your yes. Let the Spirit record your alignment. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are evolving, expanding, awakening. This is your reminder. The signs are not just around you, they are within you. The pattern of peace, the rhythm of grace, the renewal of thought. Everything is aligning. You are walking in sync with heaven's heartbeat. There is a new order being established within you, a divine structure where chaos once ruled. The thoughts that used to race now bow to peace. The emotions that once dictated your choices now yield to wisdom. You are learning that your mind, once a battlefield, is becoming a sanctuary governed by heaven's laws. This is the discipline of the chosen to bring your inner world under kingdom order. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It creates boundaries for blessing to flourish. Without order, even the best intentions scatter like seeds thrown into the wind. But when your mind is anchored in divine rhythm, everything begins to align: your habits, your speech, your focus, your peace. You are learning that your mind is not your enemy. It simply needs leadership. And you, chosen one, are that leader. You have authority to command your thoughts, to direct them toward what is true and life-giving. Every time you choose to pause instead of panic, to reflect instead of react, you exercise dominion. This is what it means to think like royalty, to refuse to let chaos dictate your responses. The Apostle reminds us in Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." This is not an invitation to ignore reality, but to interpret it from heaven's perspective. Setting your mind above means choosing vision over victimhood, purpose over panic, clarity over confusion. It's a shift from reaction to revelation, seeing every circumstance as an opportunity for divine alignment rather than emotional exhaustion. Your thought life is sacred ground. Every moment you spend dwelling on fear or resentment is a moment where weeds grow unchecked. But every time you choose gratitude, forgiveness, or faith, you are cultivating heaven's atmosphere within you. The enemy knows this, which is why he fights so fiercely for your focus. But focus, once disciplined, becomes unstoppable. Imagine your mind as a throne room. At its center sits the ruler of your thoughts. For years, worry sat there, issuing decrees of fear. But now, through renewal, that throne is being reclaimed by peace. Peace doesn't shout or demand attention, it simply reigns. When peace rules, every rebellious thought must submit. Anxiety loses its power when it meets the calm authority of divine order. This order is not sterile, it is vibrant. It doesn't silence emotion, it sanctifies it. You still feel deeply, but your feelings no longer lead you astray. Joy, sorrow, anger, and hope, they all find their rightful place under heaven's structure. You no longer swing wildly between extremes. There is balance now, a sacred stillness that comes from knowing who governs your inner world. But order doesn't happen by accident, it requires intention. You must choose daily what thoughts are allowed to stay. When negativity tries to enter, you stand at the gate of your mind and ask, does this serve peace? If not, it cannot dwell here. This is not denial, it is discernment. You are learning to protect your mental sanctuary the same way you would guard a holy temple. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Discipline becomes delight because you begin to feel the rewards. Clarity sharpens. Creativity flows. You start hearing God's voice more distinctly because the noise of chaos no longer drowns him out. You become a vessel that can carry instruction without distortion. The order of heaven is not rigid, it is rhythmic. It moves with grace. Some days will flow easily. Others will require effort. But even on difficult days, you no longer spiral, you stabilize. You understand that peace is not a mood, it is a mindset. When your thoughts align with divine truth, even storms cannot shake you. You will begin to notice how people respond to you differently. They will sense the stillness around you. They won't know the battles you fought in silence, but they'll feel the authority you carry now. You won't need to prove your transformation, your presence will speak it. The mind under kingdom order radiates quiet confidence that cannot be faked. And with this new order comes responsibility. The clarity you now carry is not for pride, but for purpose. You are being equipped to lead others into the same peace. When they come to you overwhelmed, you will not preach, you will guide. You will show them how to breathe again, how to anchor their thoughts, how to rebuild their own inner sanctuary. That is the ministry of a renewed mind, to extend the order of heaven into every conversation, every space, every heart you touch. Do not underestimate the power of this transformation. What God has established in your thoughts will ripple into your words, your relationships, your work. The atmosphere around you will shift because the atmosphere within you has changed. You are now a carrier of calm in a chaotic world, a living example that peace is possible even in the storm. This is what it means to think under kingdom order, not perfection, but alignment, not control, but surrender. You have learned to let heaven rule where worry once reigned. And that, beloved, is true victory. When heaven fights beside you, the battle never feels the same. What once seemed impossible begins to bend under divine strength. You start to realize that you were never meant to face these wars in isolation. You were always part of a heavenly alliance. Angels have walked with you through nights you thought no one saw. Grace has guarded you when you didn't even know you were in danger. The truth is, heaven has been fighting for your peace all along. Every spiritual battle begins with perception. The enemy wants you to believe you are alone, so you'll surrender your strength. But now your eyes are opening to a deeper reality, the invisible realm where heaven's armies move at the sound of faith. Every prayer you whisper, every verse you declare, sends ripples through eternity. You don't have to shout to be heard. Heaven hears faith even when it's whispered through tears. The voice of God thundered in the second book of Kings, chapter 6, verse 16. Don't be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Those ancient words, spoken by the prophet Elisha, still echo now for you. They are a reminder that what surrounds you physically is not the full story. There are more forces for you than against you. You have never been outnumbered, only outperceived. The enemy counts on your blindness, but revelation exposes his bluff. The moment you realize heaven is near, fear loses its grip. Think of the battles you've endured, those invisible wars in your thoughts, the heaviness that made it hard to breathe, the sudden waves of panic that felt too strong to resist. Yet somehow, you made it through. That was not coincidence, that was reinforcement. Angels strengthened you when your strength failed. The Spirit interceded for you with groans too deep for words. The peace that found you afterward was not random, it was the aftermath of heaven's intervention. You are beginning to discern these divine fingerprints in your story. The near misses that could have destroyed you. The sudden clarity that came at the right time. The comfort that appeared through unexpected words, all of them evidence that you were never abandoned. Heaven has a history of showing up quietly yet powerfully. God's greatest victories rarely come with spectacle, they come with stillness. A steady hand guiding events in silence. The more you recognize heaven's partnership, the more courage rises within you. Fear thrives on isolation, but courage grows through connection with God, with truth, with purpose. You are not a solitary fighter on a battlefield, you are part of an army of light. Every act of faith you take strengthens that army. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, you reinforce heaven's cause in your life. The war for your mind is not won through striving, but through surrender. When you stop trying to fight in your own strength and invite heaven to lead. Strategy replaces struggle. You begin to feel the divine rhythm of warfare, a combination of prayer, patience, and prophetic perspective. You stop swinging wildly at shadows and start striking with precision, guided by wisdom from above. Even now, heaven is aligning things you cannot see. Conversations are being prepared. Opportunities are forming. Protection is being placed ahead of you. The delay you feel is not denial, it's positioning. God never sends his warriors into battle unarmed or unready. The waiting is your training, and the silence is your strategy room. You are learning to sense when heaven moves. There will be moments when you feel sudden peace, as if the atmosphere itself shifted. That is often the presence of angels finishing what you began in prayer. You will sense when to speak and when to stay silent, when to advance and when to stand still. This awareness is part of your maturing. You are learning the language of heaven, the rhythm of victory that sounds like peace. Your role is not to win for God, but to win with him. The difference is everything. Alone, your strength is limited. United with heaven, your strength is endless. You were never meant to bear the full weight of warfare. God fights for you, through you, and sometimes even despite you. He doesn't require perfection, only participation. Remember this, the outcome has already been decided. The war is finished. Your mind simply needs to catch up to the victory. You are not fighting to win. You are fighting from a place of triumph already sealed at the cross. That's why peace is your greatest weapon. It's a declaration that the battle is over. Even when the dust hasn't settled, heaven is beside you, within you, surrounding you. You are encircled by strength you cannot see. The next time fear tries to rise, remember, you never fight alone. Every breath of prayer, every moment of surrender, every whisper of faith summons the armies of heaven to stand guard over your mind. And when you truly know this, not as theory, but as truth, you will never see battle the same way again. You will walk through storms with a calm heart, not because they are small, but because you finally know who walks beside you. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the war quiets, and what remains is peace, not fragile, but fierce. It is a peace earned through surrender, a calm forged in fire. You stand now as one who has walked through storms and learned to dance in the rain. The crown of peace rests on your mind, and the mantle of strength drapes your shoulders. This is not the same peace you once prayed for. It is deeper, wiser, unshakable. The crown of peace is not made of gold, but of surrender. It cannot be stolen, only forfeited. Every time you chose to trust instead of fear, you polished that crown. Every night you whispered prayers when your voice trembled. You secured it tighter. And now, heaven recognizes your endurance not as survival, but as mastery. You have learned to rule over your own mind, to remain steady when everything else shakes. The Word of God declares in John, chapter 16, verse 33, "I have told you this so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I overcame the world." That is the foundation of your peace. It doesn't deny trouble, it transcends it. You are not peaceful because life is easy. You are peaceful because you are anchored in one who has already conquered. Every time anxiety tries to rise, you remind yourself it has already been overcome. You are not fighting for victory, you are living from it. This peace is not passive, it carries authority. It silences storms not through noise but through presence. The calm you carry now is contagious. It enters rooms before you speak. It comforts people without words. You don't have to convince anyone of your faith, they feel it in your stillness. The world is desperate for that kind of peace, and you are becoming its vessel. But with the crown of peace comes responsibility. You are called not only to wear it but to guard it. The same way a king defends his crown, you must protect your mind from anything that tries to dethrone peace. Guard your time, your energy, and your focus. Every distraction that seeks to pull you back into chaos is an enemy of your clarity. Your peace is your platform. Every decision, every conversation, every moment flows from it. You have learned that true strength is not loud, it is consistent. It is the quiet confidence that doesn't flinch when storms come again. And yes, they will come. Life will still throw its waves. But they will break differently now because you are different now. The person who once panicked now prays. The one who once broke now bends. The same situations that once overwhelmed you will now meet a mind too anchored to be moved. Take a moment to pause. Reflect. You have come so far from the person who began this journey. Can you feel it? The stillness, the balance. That's not just emotional relief, it's spiritual maturity. Heaven has been shaping you into a vessel of peace for a restless generation. You are proof that God still restores what anxiety tries to destroy. And if these words have met you where you are, if they've reminded you of who you truly are beneath the noise, then let gratitude flow. Because transformation is holy ground. You are not just reading, you are remembering. You are remembering what heaven already knew about you before the storm began, that you were strong enough to stand, soft enough to feel, wise enough to discern, and chosen enough to rise. I want to speak to your heart, gently but truthfully. If this message has resonated, if it's given you language for your healing, then don't let it stop here. Let it live. Let it move. Like, share, and subscribe. Not as ritual, but as revelation. When you do, you're joining a movement of peace, helping this message reach other minds that are still at war. Every time you share, you plant a seed in someone's darkness. You may never know whose life shifts because of your small act of faith, but heaven will. And before you leave this moment, I invite you to reflect below. Share one thought, one feeling, one truth that touched you most deeply from this message. Your comment could be the word that someone else needs to keep going. Maybe it's just a phrase, a sentence, a whisper, but it matters. You've fought hard for your peace. Now let it flow outward. Right from your heart, what has this journey taught you about yourself? What has God revealed to you in the quiet? How has your mind changed since you started learning to fight with peace instead of panic? Because your words are not just reflections, they are ripples. Every testimony strengthens another soul. Every comment becomes a chorus of chosen ones declaring, "We made it." And truly, you stand crowned in calm, robed in strength. No longer the anxious wanderer, but the peaceful warrior. Heaven recognizes your growth, and so do I. There is power in testimony. The story you carry, every scar, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer is not a record of defeat, but of endurance. You are the living evidence that peace wins. And now, your testimony is beginning to rise from the ashes. It is not a perfect story, but it is a holy one. because in it, heaven's fingerprints are everywhere. You've walked through fire and found faith on the other side. You've fallen into silence and discovered that even silence speaks when your heart belongs to God. What once felt like punishment now reveals itself as preparation. You were never buried, you were planted. And now the seed of your struggle is blooming into strength that others will one day draw from. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3. To bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of their ashes, oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead. That verse isn't just about restoration, it's about transformation. You are not being returned to who you were before the storm. You are becoming someone entirely new. Someone refined by fire. Someone radiant with grace. The ashes of your pain have become the soil where purpose grows. Every tear watered something sacred, something eternal. There is a reason heaven allowed your journey to unfold the way it did. If peace had come easily, you wouldn't have learned its value. If strength had been handed to you, you wouldn't have known its weight. The struggle was not punishment, it was apprenticeship. You were being trained in trust. Every wave that tried to drown you only taught you how to breathe under pressure. Now, your testimony is your weapon. It disarms fear because it proves that survival is possible. It silences shame because it reveals that even brokenness can become beautiful when placed in divine hands. When you speak your story, you release healing not only for yourself, but for others. Someone out there is standing where you once stood, and your words will be the light that guides them out. But testimony is not just about telling others, it's about remembering for yourself. It's easy to forget how far you've come when life keeps moving forward. But remembrance is worship. Every time you recall what God has done, your faith deepens. Gratitude turns memories into altars. And in that remembrance, fear cannot survive. You may look back and see moments of failure, but heaven looks back and sees progress. Every time you got up when it hurt, every time you chose hope when it didn't make sense, heaven took note. The scoreboard of grace doesn't count how many times you fell, it records how many times you refused to stay down. Your testimony will not sound like everyone else's, and that is its power. Some will find peace through your quiet strength, others will be moved by your resilience. Don't edit your story to make it more impressive. Authenticity carries more anointing than perfection ever could. People don't need a flawless hero. They need a faithful human who can say, "I've been there, and God brought me through." You've noticed how certain moments replay in your mind, scenes of pain, faces, words that once wounded you. But instead of avoiding them, you're starting to see them differently. They've lost their sting because peace has rewritten the ending. The past no longer has the power to define you. It has become your evidence. This transformation doesn't erase the scars, it anoints them. Scars tell stories of healing, not harm. They prove that the wound closed, that the bleeding stopped, that you survived. And now, every scar on your spirit shines like a badge of honor. Heaven calls them your testimony marks. There will come a day when you speak your story and realize you no longer tremble. The pain will be memory, but not master. You'll tell it not with bitterness, but with boldness. And those who hear you will see themselves in your words, and in that moment, they'll find hope. That's how heaven multiplies miracles, through shared stories of redemption. The world needs what you carry. It doesn't need another sermon, it needs sincerity. It doesn't need perfection, it needs proof. Your life is that proof. Your peace is your pulpit. Every breath you take in gratitude preaches louder than any microphone could. Remember this, the greatest testimonies are not shouted from stages, they're whispered through lives that refuse to quit. You are one of those lives. You have turned pain into prophecy, chaos into calm, wounds into wisdom. And now, your very existence speaks what words cannot, that God restores minds, rebuilds souls, and reclaims every heart that says yes. So, stand tall in your truth. Let your testimony shine, not as a story of suffering, but as a declaration of divine faithfulness. The battle for your mind was never just about you. It was so your victory could become someone else's map out of darkness. You are the living proof that peace is possible, and you wear that truth like a crown. The journey is nearing stillness now, not because it ends, but because you have learned to walk differently. The noise that once defined your thoughts no longer commands them. The shadows that once loomed large have shrunk in the light of understanding. You no longer chase peace, you carry it. What once felt like warfare has become worship. You have not just won the battle in your mind, you have been remade by it. This final moment is not about striving, it is about sealing. The transformation you have experienced must now be anchored in prayer, the holy act that fastens heaven's truth to human hearts. Prayer is not repetition, it is reinforcement. It reminds your mind of what your spirit already knows, that you are loved, protected, chosen, and crowned, as was spoken in the sacred text of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 7, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That verse is your benediction, the final seal upon your thoughts. It is a promise that the peace you have found is not fleeting, it is fortified. It does not depend on mood or moment, it flows from the eternal. The peace of God is not a feeling, it is a fortress. And within its walls, your mind is safe. You are no longer the person who began this journey. That person lived reacting to every fear, doubting every quiet miracle, mistaking silence for absence. But now you know better. You understand that silence often hides sacred instruction. You recognize that delay is not denial, it's design. You have learned that sometimes God doesn't calm the storm because he intends to calm his child first. There is a quiet maturity in you now, a stillness that doesn't flinch at uncertainty. You have stopped measuring progress by circumstance and started measuring it by peace. You've learned to say, even if nothing changes, I will still trust. That is not resignation, it is revelation. It is the mark of one who has truly surrendered the battlefield of the mind to the Lord of peace. What once felt chaotic now carries rhythm. You move through your days aware of divine presence in the ordinary. The sunrise feels like a whisper. The breath in your chest feels like a reminder. You no longer rush past moments, you rest in them. The same mind that once searched for escape has become a dwelling place for God's voice. This is what it means to have a renewed mind, not to escape thought, but to elevate it. Your thoughts now serve truth instead of torment. They are instruments of peace, tools of creativity, and vessels of worship. The war has not made you bitter, it has made you better. You see life with softer eyes and a steadier heart. That is the fruit of victory, the quiet assurance that nothing was wasted, not even the pain. Peace does not mean life will never challenge you again. It means that when it does, You will respond from strength instead of survival. You will know what to do when anxiety knocks. Invite God into the room. You will know how to silence fear, not through denial, but through faith. You will remember that peace is not the absence of struggle, it is the awareness of presence. In the days ahead, your mind will still encounter moments of tension, but now you will recognize them for what they are, temporary tremors that cannot shake a firm foundation. You'll pause, breathe, and let the Spirit remind you you've been here before. And peace prevailed, then it will prevail again. And slowly, surely, peace becomes your default setting. You won't have to chase it anymore. You will live from it. People will sense it in your tone, in your silence, in the way you look at the world. You will become what you once sought, a carrier of calm, a reflection of heaven's order. That is the true victory of the chosen mind. When others look at you, they will see composure, but not understand the cost. They won't see the nights you wrestled, the prayers whispered through tears, the thoughts you had to unlearn. But heaven remembers every battle, every cry, every moment you chose trust over terror. And now, heaven celebrates not because the war is over, but because you have learned how to win. You have become a testimony of peace in motion. A mind that once trembled now teaches others how to stand. A voice that once doubted now declares truth. A heart once burdened now beats with clarity. This is the divine exchange, the ashes for beauty, the noise for stillness, the fear for faith. So, as the story closes, remember, peace is not a destination, it is a way of walking. You will keep learning, keep growing, keep discovering new depths of stillness. The journey does not end here, it simply shifts from battle to stewardship. You are no longer fighting for peace, you are guarding it. And when you forget, because you will sometimes forget, simply return. Return to prayer. Return to truth. Return to the still, small voice that first called you chosen. It will always be waiting. And now, beloved, chosen one, breathe. You've reached the still waters that waited at the end of this long, sacred road. Every section, every word, every moment of reflection has led you here to this quiet awareness that the greatest battles are won in silence, and the strongest warriors fight on their knees. You are not leaving this journey empty. You are leaving it equipped with peace that guards, wisdom that guides, and faith that endures. The journey doesn't end with this message. It continues every time you choose calm over chaos, prayer over panic, love over fear. What you've learned here is not meant to be stored away, it's meant to be shared. Somewhere out there, someone is standing where you once stood, fighting to believe that peace is possible. You can be their proof. If this message has spoken to your spirit, take a quiet moment, like, share, and subscribe. Do it not out of habit, but as an act of gratitude, as a way to say, this helped me, and I want it to help someone else. When you share light, darkness loses ground. And before you go, I invite you to leave a comment below, a reflection, a prayer, a single line of truth that captured your heart. Your words may become the spark that reignites someone's hope. Peace isn't something you find, it's something you carry. So go. Chosen one, carry it boldly. The battle is won.